Hi, it's Catherine Sandland from White Hart Training. Using questions in a talk and a presentation is such a good technique at every stage of your presentation. Often rhetorical ones, sometimes direct ones, and really carefully placed and peppered throughout your talk can be fantastic ways of exciting curiosity, getting lots of participation, and also getting people to really be involved and to be thinking about what you're saying. Today, though, I wanted to specifically think about questions as a way of opening up your presentation. It's a superb hook, that technique that we know gives your talk a huge impact and gets your audience on board straight away. So this is why questions really work. When we ask a question, and in a presentation, by the way, this will almost certainly be a rhetorical one rather than a direct one. I'll come on to that in a minute. When we ask that rhetorical question and we pause, do remember to pause, then what we are asking our audience to do is to start to generate some sort of answer. So that means almost, well, from the very get-go, you've got your audience thinking about what you want to say and what you're going on to say. So they are engaged and they are also participating, but they're also curious, which is a word you've heard me say an awful lot if you've heard me talk about hooks. So think about those questions and you can phrase them in different ways. It could be how many, it could be I bet if I asked how many, or it could be did you know that, I'm sure that some of you, and so on and so forth. So there's lots of nice ways of introducing those questions. Now, just a word on direct questions, if I may, as an opener. If, of course, you ask a direct question, and by that I mean a question where you are expecting and demanding an actual physical answer from your audience, you will get immediate participation, of course, but you run a very real risk. And you run that risk of either nobody answering, so it all falls very, very flat. And remember, this is your opening gambit. Or you get somebody who answers with a really weird answer and you think, where did that come from? Or even, and this is slightly worse, I suppose, that they answer and it's the wrong answer for your talk, for where you're expecting to direct them on your talk. And then you're sort of having to be on the back foot dealing with that before you've even got started. So it can be problematic. And you might choose not to do that so that you've got a very clear, impacting opening that you've got absolute control over as you go into the rest of your talk. Now, the time when the direct question often works is if it's a more intimate setting, so usually a smaller audience and one that you know really, really well. Perhaps you've got personal relationships with that particular group of people, or indeed it could be in a training scenario where you're setting the expectation and the scene that there's questions there. But generally speaking, I'd advise you go for non-direct questions, but definitely do consider using questions because they are awesome.